Bombs in Delhi, blood in Kabul, chaos in Dhaka. There's one invisible hand that keeps reappearing behind every explosion, every insurgency, every secessionist movement that suddenly turns into mass murder. Pakistan's. For decades, Islamabad's deadliest export hasn't been textile or tech. It's been terror. Trained, armed and sheltered by the Pakistani state, these militant groups don't just operate. They metastasize. From Kashmir's valleys to Kabul's streets, from Nepal's safe houses to Bangladesh's mosques, Pakistan's fingerprints are everywhere. It's a country that bleeds others to stay relevant, where jihad is policy, not accident. But how did terrorism become Pakistan's most successful export industry? And why is the world still buying it? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. To understand Pakistan's terror factory, you have to rewind to the 1980s, when the ISI, Pakistan's infamous spy agency, discovered the perfect weapon: militants with ideology. What began as a US-funded jihad against the Soviets soon turned into Pakistan's personal franchisee of global terror. Once Moscow withdrew from Afghanistan, Islamabad, particularly Rawalpindi, simply redirected its jihadi army toward India, especially Kashmir. This wasn't random violence, it was a calculated doctrine: bleed India through 1,000 cuts. That became Pakistan's long-term strategy, a war without declaring war. But 4 decades later, can Pakistan still hide behind denials and proxies as its terror web unravels?
But some make conscious choices with disastrous consequences. A premier example is our neighbor, Pakistan. Unfortunately, their misdeeds affect others as well, especially the neighborhood. When this polity instills such fanaticism among its people, its GDP can only be measured in terms of radicalization and its exports in the form of terrorism. Today, we see the ills it sought to visit on others consume its own society. It can't blame the world. This is only karma. Madam President, a dysfunctional nation coveting the lands of others must be exposed and must be countered. We heard some bizarre assertions from it at this very forum yesterday. So let me make India's position perfectly clear. Pakistan's cross-border terrorism policy will never succeed, and it can have no expectation of impunity. On the contrary, actions will certainly have consequences.
Let's call it what it is. Pakistan's most consistent export has been terror, not wheat, not cotton, and certainly not software. Terrorism, refined, packaged, and exported with deadly precision. From the 1980s to 2025, this industry has matured under one state-run enterprise, the ISI. The Inter-Services Intelligence Agency has turned militant groups into strategic assets, laboratories of violence aimed at destabilizing every neighbor Pakistan has ever had. And it all began under the shadow of the Afghan jihad. In the late 1970s and 80s, Pakistan, flush with US dollars and Saudi funding, trained tens of thousands of mujahideen to fight the Soviets in Afghanistan. The CIA called it Operation Cyclone. Pakistan called it training. What no one realized then was that Islamabad was incubating a Frankenstein.
In 1979, Soviets invaded Afghanistan. The West and the United States and Pakistan joined. We were coalition partners to fight communism. We launched a jihad in Afghanistan together. 4 kinds of category of people fought that jihad. Number 1, Afghans themselves. Number 2, Mujahideen from all over the world, from the Islamic world. 20 to 30,000 mujahideen were brought into Afghanistan from all over the Islamic world to fight a jihad against communists, including Osama bin Laden was brought. Then the third, Taliban from our madrasas were trained, equipped, armed and sent in. The fourth category was mercenaries. I am from the special service group. I know some colleagues of mine who went inside with 50, 100 odd people as mercenaries and were fighting the Soviets. Now, for 10 years this went on. Look at the impact on our society. After 10 years, Soviet Union gets defeated and everyone leaves this place, leaves Pakistan high and dry.
When the Soviets finally retreated, Pakistan redirected its battle-hardened fighters, this time toward India. Kashmir became the new battlefield. The ISI launched Operation Tupac, the code name for a covert campaign to militarize Kashmir's separatist movement. Its mission was clear: fuel insurgency, fund jihad, and flood the region with blood. Out of this operation were born monsters like Lashkar-e-Taiba or LET and Jaish-e-Mohammed, also known as JEM. They weren't just terror outfits, they were extensions of the Pakistani state, with training camps, weapons depots, and ideological indoctrination sites spread across Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Punjab. Under General Zia-ul-Haq, Pakistan embraced a chilling philosophy: bleed India through 1,000 cuts. Instead of full-scale war, Zia's Pakistan would inflict death by attrition, a steady stream of terror attacks, infiltration, and psychological warfare. For decades, India was forced to fight an invisible war. 80s and 90s were particularly bad in Kashmir, and later, soldiers ambushed in Pulwama, civilians massacred in Mumbai, Parliament attacked in broad daylight. From the 2001 Parliament attack to the 2008 Mumbai carnage, from the 2016 Uri strike to the 2019 Pulwama bombing, every trail led back to Pakistan. Every time, Islamabad played the same game: denial, deflection, and deception. 10th November 2025, a chilling reminder that Pakistan's terror machinery never sleeps. A Hyundai i20 exploded near the Red Fort metro station in Delhi, killing 13 and injuring over 20. It wasn't just a car bomb, it was a statement that Pakistan's proxy war had reached the capital once again. Investigations revealed the bomb was packed with ammonium nitrate and assembled by a terror module linked to Jaish-e-Mohammed, operating under the radar since early 2025. Their plan? A series of coordinated attacks across Delhi, Gurugram, and Faridabad, a sequel to 2611. When police raided safe houses in Faridabad, they recovered 2,900 kilograms of explosives, assault rifles, and detonators. Behind the operation were men trained, funded, and ideologically radicalized under Pakistan's shadow networks. The mastermind, Dr. Umar Nabi, wasn't some rogue operator. He was part of a system. A system that starts in Rawalpindi's ISI offices, runs through training camps in Bahawalpur, and ends with blood in the streets of India. This is Pakistan's export model: terror with plausible deniability. Pakistan's proxy war didn't stop at India. Its next customer was Afghanistan. The ISI's relationship with the Taliban and Haqqani network is no secret. For decades, Pakistan armed, trained, and sheltered them to control Afghanistan's politics. Why? Because a stable, India-friendly Afghanistan was Pakistan's nightmare. So instead, it built chaos. It created militias to burn down peace. Even after the US withdrawal, Pakistan continued to treat Afghanistan like its backyard, backing the Taliban factions, sheltering militants, and turning terror into foreign policy. But Pakistan's double game backfired. The same militants it nurtured began attacking Pakistani soldiers and cities. Terror had come home, and Islamabad had no idea how to stop it. Next stop on Pakistan's terror map, Nepal. For years, Nepal has served as a transit hub for ISI operations and operatives. Why? Because of its porous border with India and lax surveillance. Intelligence reports show how LET and JEM operatives have used Nepal to smuggle weapons, explosives, and fake Indian currency into India. ISI agents reportedly operate under the guise of cultural centers and mosques. Kathmandu became a staging ground for infiltrating Khalistani and Kashmiri militants into India since the 1980s. Pakistan's mission was simple: use Nepal not as a battlefield but as a base camp. Recruit, radicalize, re-enter India. Even when Indian agencies busted networks, ISI rebuilt them. That's Pakistan's pattern: destroy the evidence, deny the existence, and redeploy the mission. But the most alarming front today isn't Kashmir or Nepal, it's Bangladesh. After the fall of Sheikh Hasina government in 2024, Pakistan saw an opportunity and jumped in headfirst. With the Yunus regime in Dhaka cozying up to Islamabad, Pakistan's terror proxies began to find fertile ground again. Recent intelligence reports confirm Hafiz Saeed, mastermind of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, is planning to use Bangladesh as a new launchpad for attacks on India. Even more concerning was the presence of Ibtisam Ilahi Zahir, a close aide of Hafiz Saeed and the General Secretary of Pakistan's Markazi Jamiat Ahl-e-Hadith. In October 2025, he visited Dhaka, Rajshahi, and Chapai Nawabganj, preaching jihad, meeting radical groups, and urging Bangladeshis to unite against seculars and liberals. At the same time, Pakistan's Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee Chairman General Sahir Shamshad Mirza and Naval Chief Admiral Naveed Ashraf landed in Dhaka. A Pakistani warship docked at Chattogram port, the first such visit since 1971. Coincidence? Hardly. It's a diplomatic cover for a new front, a Bangladesh-Pakistan nexus fueled by religious extremism and strategic revenge. Every time Pakistan is concerned, it sings the same song: we are victims of terrorism. Yes, Pakistan is a victim of its own creation. It created monsters it can't control, nurtured vipers that now bite back. Yet, instead of dismantling the terror infrastructure, Islamabad plays a cynical game, cracking down on one group while secretly arming another. Even after the FATF greylisting and multiple international warnings, Pakistan's terror camps continue to operate under new names, new charities, and new facades. LET became Jamaat-ud-Dawa. JEM became Al-Rahmat Trust. Same leaders, same mission, different banners. In 2025, India launched Operation Sindoor, a massive counter-offensive targeting terror infrastructure deep inside Pakistan. Camps, headquarters, and supply routes were destroyed. But Islamabad didn't learn. Instead, it doubled down, forming alliances between lashkar-e-taiba and ISIS Khorasan and activating sleeper cells across South Asia. The result? More blood, more fear, and more evidence that Pakistan sees terror not as a crime but as currency. Pakistan's proxy war doesn't just harm India, it destabilizes Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and even itself. In Afghanistan, once ISI-backed groups like the Haqqani network attacked civilians, today they're in power. But in Bangladesh, extremist cells tied to Pakistan spread radical propaganda and recruit youth. In Balochistan, Pakistan uses jihadist groups to suppress their own nationalist movements. The irony? While Pakistan accuses others of interference, it's the one exporting instability across borders. The world knows Pakistan's role, yet plays along. The US needs access to Afghan roots and rare minerals. China needs Pakistan for CPEC. Turkey shares ideological ambitions. So Islamabad gets away with murder, literally. Every time an Indian city explodes, there's silence in global corridors. Every time an Afghan girl dies in a suicide blast, there's diplomatic doublespeak. How long will the world keep pretending Pakistan is an ally when it clearly is the architect of anarchy. Terrorism isn't just a tactic for Pakistan, it's an industry. The ISI bankrolls groups that also fund themselves through smuggling, extortion, and charity fronts. The economy of jihad is woven into Pakistan's fabric, from madrasas to marketplaces. Each explosion abroad strengthens the military's grip at home. Each enemy threat keeps democracy weak, dissent silenced, and the army relevant. That's why Pakistan can't afford peace. Peace kills its biggest export. The most dangerous development of all, Pakistan's renewed obsession with Bangladesh. Hafiz Saeed's aides openly declare, from Pakistan to Bangladesh, Muslims will unite against seculars. The day will come when Kashmir becomes part of Pakistan. This isn't nostalgia, it's strategy. Islamabad wants to reopen old wounds, rebuild lost influence, and rekindle the two-nation theory. By turning Bangladesh into a launchpad, Pakistan hopes to surround India, Kashmir from the north, Nepal in the middle, Bangladesh in the east. 3 fronts, 1 mission, endless blood. Pakistan has spent decades exporting terror, but now terror is returning the favor. The same groups it nurtured are bombing its own cities, killing its own people, and tearing its society apart. Yet Islamabad refuses to stop. Why? Because terror isn't a bug in Pakistan's system. It is the system. As long as Pakistan sees terrorism as leverage, not liability, South Asia will never know peace. So as the smoke clears from Red Fort to Kabul, from Dhaka to Quetta, the world must ask, how long can a nation built on terror survive its own export? Thank you for watching Statecraft.